Hello, hello. We are live. Welcome everyone to Mystic Sisters. This is Dr. Vicky, Ona, and our special Mystic Sister guest and official from this point on, Mystic Sister Susan
Yay!
Lynn from Susan Lynn.
Yay! I needed this. You guys don't know how much I needed this. Thank you.
Well,
Awesome.
yeah, this is why we do it, because we kind of need it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. This is why we do. We got to wrap up this week because there's so much that can happen in such a short time.
Oh, it's been so intense, and I don't really think that. I think this is going to be the norm, which is.
You think it's going to be the norm? Wow.
For a while, anyway. Yeah, I think the first 4 months are going to be.
I do too.
Like what's the next thing? Right.
You better get on accessing your happy place right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And don't feel guilty about going there. No matter how long you have to stay there. I really think it has to do with, because this is a big challenge, but I feel like the work is ahead. Like the real work is ahead. This is just the fireworks before whatever the hell's going to happen is going to happen. You know what I mean?
I'm not muted. I'm just not talking. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me now?
We heard you just fine.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Yeah, I agree that the first 3-4 months are going to be very topsy-turvy, uncertain. There's a lot of uncertainty. Perhaps even around the outcome of the election, uncertainty about just everything. So I think Ona's point is so well taken that, look, you guys, even if Kamala, even if something happens and she gets in, we're still in the same energy. It's not like we're all going to be out dancing in the streets. It's going to be a different lesson. It's going to be a different thing. It's not going to be, I hate to say it, because nobody would love more than anybody else to go run down the street screaming. I would do it, but it's not, that's just not the energy. The energy is uncertainty. And I think around March, April, May, and then really into June, we sort of get into this, we can breathe. Okay. We're okay. And we actually, it's like you come out the dark side of the tunnel. Like you're out of the tunnel and you're like, the sun is so bright that you're like, God darn, turn it down. Right. So, but just, I think, take care of yourself. This isn't going to be snap, snap either way.
Yeah. And so I picked a Mystic Sister card and I got, I don't know how people might be a little upset about this one, but I got Snow Queen. So for those of you, look at Ona's face. For those of you who live in the snowy realms,
It's done with snow, I think, y'all.
So I will
come to Texas. Right now we don't have snow, and if we get snow, our senator is going to leave to go to Cancun. So don't worry, you can live in his house; it'll be empty.
Oh my God! You know what? I know we've had, and I'm really sorry anybody south of us, is because I am trying to dodge the snow. We're in a drought right now, but I had the music on all day, the house cleanse, keep the negative energy away, snow thing at bay. And I pushed it too far south maybe, but I definitely had that in my head. Like, please don't do a dump on us this year.
Don't dump on us.
I think we're going to get dumped on a couple of times. They say it's going to be cold, and Aquarius is generally big weather. So now that Pluto's there.
And it always is.
For 19 years.
Generally, we get a lot of snow, mostly in February, but we just can't have one of those 8 to 10, 12-inch snow piles.
They're having blizzard conditions in Kansas.
Yes, I'm so sorry, Kansas.
So sorry, Kansas. All right.
Stay inside, y'all.
So this is what the Snow Queen says. Persevering and enduring, which is exactly what we just said, right? Says the Snow Queen is wise in her knowledge that although the long darkness has come and all life may presently feel frozen and seemingly unchangeable, it will pass. The light will return. She is the goddess of winter solstice. She brings the gift of hope and guides our way back towards the light. She reassures that what you perceive as static and a fixed state will melt away. Regain your confidence in your personal power of perception. Ooh, I know quite a few psychics who are happy to hear this. It requires finding a new mindset by making a conscious commitment to changing your attitude from a claustrophobic state to one of cozy serenity. I'm feeling pretty cozy.
Cozy serenity.
And also calm, because I'm not really paying too much attention to the news. I find it disturbing. Just the whole energy of it. It just seems like it's like there's all these talking heads now. Everybody's a talking head.
Yeah.
So.
Have you been watching the news, Susan?
No. And one thing, it's just like it's like when you're in the snow and your wheels are turning.
Yeah.
That's what the news is. It's like we're spinning out, aren't we? Like this snow is our theme. I'm sorry, Ona. I'm so sorry. But snow is our theme. It's like we're not getting any traction. It's just like the card said, we're not going anywhere. Nothing is happening. I'm going to just tell you right out from the very beginning, it doesn't matter if Jeffrey's a speaker. Right now, it doesn't matter because the table's going to flip. Something is going to happen. And then we'll see what that is. This is all a preamble, in my opinion, to what's coming. And I don't know, maybe Trump will get in, maybe Trump won't get in, but either way, we have a lesson. Honestly, sometimes I wish he would get in, because if he gets in, what's going to happen is the states are going to buttress, all the power centers are going to buttress against him, like they already did. They didn't vote his thing in. They did. They were like, step off. So I think if he gets in, they're actually going to put up some walls against him to preserve their power, because everybody's about power. Nobody wants to give up their power. If she gets in through it would have to be through like Article 5, NATO. I don't think it's going to be through the election. I've always said that. I don't think the election is going to be the thing. I think it's going to be an attack of some kind and a delay in the transfer of power. And then perhaps that all becomes part of the election thing. But if she gets in, then what happens is the states, like my state, Texas, is going to turn kind of buck wild. They're going to kind of go rogue, and they're going to say, we don't have to answer to the government. They've already said it. They've already said we don't have to answer.
They already did that. They've already declared themselves.
So there's a precedent for that, and the Supreme Court and the government didn't do anything, right? So, of course, this is a new. If this is the case that Kamala's in, it would be a new sheriff in town, and I think that she will not do. I'm not saying Biden did it wrong. I'm saying she's a different person, and I think that there might be some real strife there. So I think either way, we've got some things that we're going to have to get through. And I don't know why June. It's probably astrological, right? March, April, June. June is when, to me, the energy is just like, whoo, let's breathe a sigh of relief,
Yeah. I think the Pluto Mars is really made an impact. And I think there is this like buzzing, waiting for the next foot to drop.
Yeah, that's it. That's the feeling, right?
Guarded. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's how we've been conditioning ourselves to live.
We are so PTSD'd.
Same.
Like when Kamala and Tim were out there, and people were crying at Kamala, and she was did anyone see there was a Gallego from Arizona?
Yeah.
He was being sworn into the Senate by Kamala. That's who does it. And his little boy was there, and he was so upset that she didn't win. And he was like, and she's like, come here, come here. She was actually comforting the little boy because he was so upset that she didn't win.
He said on the mic, "I'm sorry you didn't win," loud as Dallas. And she said, "It's okay. We don't always win." Here she is giving this opportunity to like teach this kid how to be a good sportsman, how to be a good loser, right? Like she's really, we have PTSD because we had it. We had probably the best thing that could ever happen to us, and then it got stolen from us. That's why we have PTSD, for sure.
Right. And that we've things have been stolen from us a lot. It wasn't just this election.
Right.
It was, almost all the elections since Reagan, really. If a Republican got it, I think Bush was the only one who got a big election, and that was the second one when we were in
after
the war.
9/11.
Right after 9/11. Yeah.
Yep.
So it takes like destroying two buildings to keep even the worst presidents in. So unbelievable.
This is it's so like sad because I feel like there was a chance that we could pioneer in so many different things. And I think we're going backwards if we cannot open our eyes and understand what is unfolding in front of us right now. I'm so lucky I get to live in a state where I have a little bit of a cocky attitude.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'm really lucky that way.
Our doors are always open, Susan.
Yes, because I don't, and truly if Kamala gets in, I think I finally got the green light for you guys that don't know me or know who I am, because I am on your channel. I've been trying to move for a few years. Not that I don't like Texas. Texans are actually some of the nicest people, some of the best people I've ever met in my whole life.
Yeah.
Hands down, period. I've lived a lot of different places, but I can't do the heat. We were talking earlier, like the heat here is just murderous, right? Yeah. So I've been begging my spirit guides to move for like 2 years. And I knew they were going to do this to me. Because they said, it's like, wait, be patient. It's sort of like what we're going through politically. Like we all have to be patient. Right. And that's really hard, right? And then when the change happens, it happens so sudden that you're caught off guard. And, so I am moving, that's for sure. So, and I'm going to move to a blue state. That'll be good for me. But, the bottom line is people just can't move, right? The bottom line is people are in the states they're in, and they have to make the best of it. There. Yeah. Yeah. You have kids, you have a job, you just can't move, right? So
there's a lot of people are transplants, like millennials are transplanted all over the place, and they just don't have equity in any property or anything to be able to fluidly turn over. Some people leave that state to live in a state where there's no taxes, like Nevada. Is it Nevada or Arizona?
Well, Texas doesn't have but yeah, Washington State doesn't have federal income taxes. So yeah, but I would say this too, you guys, for you guys who are watching, do your research, because I didn't know. I had a friend who's retirement, a little older than retirement age, and she was able to move to California and get a government assisted rent on her apartment. And I think, especially in Texas, especially in Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, all of us, Louisiana, we don't know what perks blue states have.
Yes.
Because we don't know. Like, we just don't know. And I'll say another thing too. When I was shopping around for health insurance, the guy said, golly, if you move to this state, you can save like $1,000 a year on your insurance. So red states are actually more expensive to live in. So I think if you guys are thinking I could never move, it might be a good idea to just Google or ask some questions when you're on one of these live videos of people that live in blue states, right? Because I think there's a lot of help there for you in blue states that us red state people just are not aware of.
Yeah. Whenever I talk to my mother, who lives in Delaware, which is not a red state, it's a blue state, she's like, oh, that's right, they take care of you up there in Massachusetts. I'm like, yes, Mom, they do. And then I have friends who are in Oregon, and they can't get she can't get any help, like mental health help for her daughter. She's been on like a list for like 7 years, and she's struggles. And what do you do? Like, what do you do if there's no services? It's just such a crime, really. It's such a crime.
And the
it doesn't have
services
to be that
are so
way.
limited. There's a helicopter.
And then they're going to privatize it. The Republicans want to privatize everything. Then there's no oversight.
Look,
and
you
then
guys,
you know what
it's not
happens
gonna work.
when there's no oversight.
It's just not going to work. Look what happened when Luigi did his thing. Look what happened. The right was saying, we need health care. The left was saying we need health care. That's really something that goes across all those lines of red and blue. And these are I really feel like we're going to start banding together and realizing I'm not the problem. You're not the problem. That's the problem, right? The greedy.
That's right.
That's Aquarius in Pluto, right? Or
yes. Yes.
So,
I think we need to start. Yeah, we need to start implementing the process of the socialized model is the best option for the people we need to cover.
Well, I mean, the system is there. If we had a Medicare for all system, it would be one payer, one price for everything, no matter where you were. It worked. I think the fee that it costs them to like run it is like 2%.
Yeah.
Right. And like regular insurance, it's like 15 or 12 or it's like a lot of the extra cost comes from the fact that, well, and then all the different insurances. I was in healthcare for 30 years and I left because of the insurance.
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Big problem.
Right. And, if they don't agree with the way you bill, they take the money back. And the patient is better and the insurance company is still rich. And you're
out. You're holding the bag. The provider's holding the bag.
The provider holds the bag. That's why a lot of doctors got out of medicine, because it just was too much work and you're not making the kind of money that your education, you really should be making, and then if you have a private practice, you have to have all these people working just for the insurance.
Right.
And you can't treat your patient the way you want to treat your patient.
Right.
So it's just, it's a lose-lose. The system we have is lose-lose.
It's going to fall apart, you guys, because the payers, the people, are upset, number one. And then number two, the insurance, this is already happening with property insurance, right? Like in Florida and the Gulf Coast of Texas, they're not insuring us. They're like, heck no, man, right? This is going to start happening with healthcare. These insurance companies are going to start saying, we're not insuring these people. We don't want to insure them. They're overweight. They have diabetes, whatever. We don't care. We don't want to insure them. They're going to exit the health. And then that's where the government, what always happens, right? The government comes in and picks up the tab. This is how we're going to get there. These two forces, people being too expensive to insure and then not profitable enough. And then number two, the actual people themselves saying, we're dying. You're not even insuring us. Screw you. We'll just, forget it. Right. This is all these economic things are going to come to bear. I mean, I've always seen Medicare for all. And I understand some people pay a lot more for Medicare than, I mean, I know it's not free, but if we could get the private sector out of it, we could really do it. We could really do it right. Now, the only way the private sector is going to get out of it is if it's not profitable. They see everything as a profit center. The mail, you got DeJoy, your mail center, that's a profit center. The military, that's a profit center. Musk with SpaceX and, the space station. That's a profit center. They want to profitize everything. But when something's not profitable, they give it back to the government. They wreck it. It's like corporate raiders. They suck all the thing out of it and they just give it back the husk, back to the government. And they say, this is broken. And the government fixes it. And then they go back and try to get it again. This is the same.
This is called bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's in a way it's the Republican way. You know,
It is.
The Republicans mess it up, the Democrats fix it, and then the Republicans say, "Oh, look, we have money. Let's mess it up again."
Yeah, it's nice and good. It's working again. They fixed it, and then they
fixed it. Now we're going to blame everything on them. Yeah, I know. I know the story.
Yeah,
I've worked for private owned and nonprofits, and that is I will not work for a privately owned company organization.
Healthcare should not have a profit motive at all. Nothing.
Nope.
Oh, hell no.
No. We're going to get there because this is broken, and people
we might get there faster than we thought.
I think we're going to get there faster than we thought.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's so broken. It's so broken.
And, you know, because the internet now, you know, you can be on whatever social media you want to be on, and some Canadian or Swedish person or German people will say, yeah, it cost me nothing. I broke my hip. And, you know, we're over here like we're bankrupt, you know, we're mortgaging our house, we're borrowing from our kids, we're, you know what I mean? Like it's in our face. It's more and more and more in our face.
I really have to do a series because through this winter, I have been taking a lift to and from work because I don't want to walk like 3 blocks downtown. It's too cold, it's too windy, and I don't want to show up like that. Right? I don't want to show up at work like just frazzled. So
yeah.
Every single Lyft driver has 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And I want to do like a series on them, you know. And I've had the best conversations, but not one of them can survive on one job.
And I think that there's a certain amount of, I think that's the future. In a way, you have to have it's good to have a couple of streams of income anyway.
Yep.
And, you know, like when my dad was at work, he worked in the same company for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, like, right. He went in and they gave him a big retirement party when he left. Everybody knew him. He went to the same place every day. It's not like that anymore. It's just not. Everybody is so, you know, they can just, what's that called? Dispensable? I think that's the word. Everybody.
Yeah. I think there was a term I heard that Gen Zers are taking a pre-retirement.
A pre-retirement?
Yes, that they're postponing working that whole like window of.
They're not even starting to work. They're pre-tiring before they start to work. I love that. Like the millionaires are going to love that.
Of not committing to, I guess, one discipline. I'm going to like try to cut them a break because I kind of get it. I guess
they're like opting out. They're opting out. They're like, forget this, right? Like,
right. Like we're like struggling, and they're like, I don't want to do that. And then we're like, why don't you want to struggle? And they're like, why do you want to struggle?
Yeah.
Right. You guys,
they're like, I'm going to wait before I turn into that because that's scaring me. This is a real thing. It's that window of time, I guess, when you call your teenager lazy, or, you know, this is what the plan is. You go straight from here to here and then you get a job. And they're like, no, I can't. It's, you know, I can't do that right now.
You can't. I saw a cartoon once and I sent it to my cousin who was just out of college. And it's a picture of a boy, a cartoon of a boy coming home with his laundry to his mother's house, and he's like, "Mom, I'm home." And on his back, he had this big laundry basket. On the back of it, it said "college debt." These kids can't get a. You know, you go to college. Like my cousin who went to college, he ended up going for 5 years. It must have cost him $250,000 to go to college for 5 years. He went to a really good school. It was, you know, like a private college. His parents are educators. His brothers went to all the good schools. It wasn't like Harvard, but it was, you know, it's expensive. And he had to live there. And so he gets out and he has all this debt on him. And then how are they supposed to start a family or buy a house or do any of those things?
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it's
right.
It's out, really. They're
it's
all
safe, right? It's a safe, like little, like I can't commit right now sort of thing. And then, you know, the census comes out and your life expectancy is now 96 years old. And they're like, why do you want me to figure out what I need to do right now? I'm supposed to live till, you know, on infinitum. So I got to cut him some slack. And I like the way that presents itself. And I do truly appreciate and know that after a while, you know how to sustain, and this with 2 jobs or 2 degrees and no jobs and, you know, driving a Lyft or doing whatever, that we're going to be able to adjust to being okay and surviving as a society, I think.
So do you guys think, so the new thing, right? It's not new, but this thing with the H-1B visa, right? So think about like this. You've got this whole generation of millennials and got the Zoomers, and who knows about the Gen Z, right? Like they're like, forget that, I'm not doing it. So you bring over this HB1 visa person who's brilliant because of all their population, you know, they've squeezed out the most brilliant ones. And those are the ones that get the opportunity for education. And those are the ones that get the opportunity to come to the United States. Mm-hmm. So then these companies are just going to fill all those roles with those visa applicants. Now, what I had read on that was, you know, when you're talking about an engineer, it's not that much better, but the engineers, at least, you know, like computer engineers or whatever, you know, but if they get sick, they're gone. Yeah. I mean, there's no fidelity or fealty to these people, right? If nothing else, if they get to be 40, they're gone, whatever, right? But then you also have these visa people they're going to be bringing in to like do like slaughterhouse work. They're already doing it, actually. And they get injured, well, they're gone. The laws don't even apply to them. They have no real protection. And I think that they're going to create these company towns where they have you know, you're a visa holder, you don't have a car, and you know, you're just going to go to this store, which is owned by the company you work with. You're going to rent from this apartment, which is owned by the company you work with. It's all about consolidating wealth. It's all about consolidating wealth, right? And so, you know, I don't think this doesn't feel good, because then I feel like there's a lot of youth that are walking around unemployed or underemployed and are some kind of disassociated and some kind of mad and angry. I just think, and you add to that the Aquarius and Pluto energy, and these billionaires are just literally out in the yard digging their own hole. You know what I mean? Like, I just think this is not going to end well for them.
Mm-hmm. And the generation coming up is the Pluto and Sagittarius, and they have the ability to know bullshit when they hear it. Oh, yeah. And they're like, if you're going to look at a past life connection with that, you might say these were the Crusaders. These are the ones who believed in something so strongly that they were willing to fight for it. Mm-hmm. And that was Luigi is
right.
That,
so I was just going to say that could go either way, right? I mean, they could be Crusaders.
Luigi is that generation. Fuentes, the guy.
Yes, there are a few. Yes, the kid from that the Highland Park shooter. Yes,
Nicholas. Yeah,
and knocked that out.
Oh, so they're easily radicalized.
They're sort of, in a way, they need something to believe in, and so you know that you have to be careful with that. But they're also very wise souls. You know, they spent lifetimes learning about the world, and their challenge is to find the words to communicate instead of just acting out.
So they could be the new civil rights. They could be the new version of our civil rights vanguard. You know, they could believe in racial justice, in gender justice, in environmental justice is huge. They could be the underdog. They could be like the underdog squad.
Right.
These are the ones that are taking a pre-retirement.
Yeah.
them. So yes, hang in there.
Then the next generation, when they grow up, those are the Pluto and Capricorns.
Yeah,
that's going to be something to see, because
I want to exit this globe.
Wait a minute. Who are the Pluto and Capricorn? Tell me about them. What do they do?
Well, they're children born, children born from 2008 until just recently, right? Pluto just moved out of Capricorn. But Pluto, the sign that your Pluto is in is what you understand and know. It's just like we're all Pluto and Virgos here, so we know what it's like to be of service. We have a deep desire to be of service and fix what's broken. Of course, we got plopped onto the planet, after all these wars and all this, and then the rise of the civil rights and the human rights sort of stuff. So we're kind of we're an interesting generation. But those Capricorns come in like bosses, and I've actually gazed into the eyes of a few of these children, and their souls are so old, like
nice.
Yeah. So the wisdom is here. The wisdom keepers are here. We just have to try to get these Pluto and Leos who don't like to let go of their power to give the people below them a chance.
What age group is the Pluto and Leo?
Pluto and Leo was at this point like 84. The oldest ones are like in their 80s, and the youngest ones would be in their late 60s.
So like our Senate.
Yeah, it's our Senate.
Most of our Senate.
It's Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
It's Chuck Schumer. It's
McConnell.
Right, Biden.
Yes, and that's a super ego.
That's why. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Configuration. I think for the Gen Zers, I think they would be sort of, and I can't remember what I was going to say about that, but the Pluto and Capricorn are, I would translate it as like bossy pants.
Yes. Yeah.
They're the bossy pants. They're going to be bossy pants, and
we can't forget the Pluto.
How long do we have before the bossy pantses are here?
We don't have to worry about it. I don't think we have to worry about it.
Okay, good. Thanks.
But
fighting your ankles by the time you got to worry about that,
Yeah. So then we have the Pluto and Scorpio generation, right, which we sort of omitted from this conversation. But they came in. So they came in from 1983 to 1994. So they were on. Pluto was only in Scorpio for 11 years, short time.
Pluto and Scorpio, what the heck? What are they going to do?
Well, they come in and Scorpio is an extreme energy, so they come in on an extreme. They're either extremely good or extremely bad. There's like no in between. They're like totally like, it's like AOC, right? She's in, she's not. I mean, I know what they allow her to do, but she has the backing of the people. She has the backing of the people.
She's one of the Scorpio people.
She's a Pluto and Scorpio. Yeah. So she came into Congress. I think she didn't have her Saturn return yet. I think she was like 26.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I know, right?
And now everybody's mad because, they didn't pick her for that committee.
I'm mad too.
I'm mad too. It was an opportunity. Like they say, I'm sure the other guy is fine and good at what he's doing, but he might be good at that stuff, but we need to communicate why they should choose us. And when it's like just reasons not to.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think that we have to realize is that, and I think this is true of the red states especially, is that education has been under such attack that a lot of these kids don't know anything. They just like follow whatever they follow on their phones, and they haven't been informed. None of that, there's no bedrock to that.
Yeah.
So
digital education really, I think, altered how the outcome. And a lot of that was homeschooling during COVID and stuff like that.
Well, even before that, I mean,
So
that's
digital.
true, but there was all that homeschooling before that. It just, and then the charter schools and all that other stuff, they want to privatize all of it.
Yep.
And they want control over what their children learn. And
Which
I can understand. Right. Well, they want them to listen to mommy and daddy.
Right.
I don't know. I've met a lot of people who I met through the kind of work I do, where they talk about their parents being so like totally, what is that called? Dissonance. There's
dissonance.
No, you know what I'm
something
talking
just cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
But explain
like,
what that is, cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, it's like they see they're not looking at what they're seeing. They're looking at something and they're not seeing it. They just refuse to, but I can understand that in a way, because when I hear something on the news that I don't want to hear, I'm like, it's not my reality. So I kind of get what they're doing, but you got to educate your children.
Echo chamber, when you're in an echo chamber. And that's the thing, right? When you would go to school, you would meet kids that aren't like you. Your teacher might not be like you. You were taught things that were broaden your horizon. And that stuff is not happening, right? Like in the South, they want to take slavery out of schools. They want to ban all the books. I mean, I just can't even believe that they're banning these books, and in Houston, they want to close the libraries and make them detention centers.
Are they going to?
This is not good. This is not going to end well. Okay, no. It's not going to end well.
I think, you know what, if all of this stuff was digitally available, then you can offer your kid to learn on whatever platform you want. If you want to pluck the Bible out of the curriculum, pluck it out. If you want to throw it in all day long, throw it in all day long. We can't, it's too hard to assign the kids of certain protocol, and they're going to learn by this, who just like spilled out of COVID. Like they never know when it's going to shut down. Even snow days can go online. So if we have like a pipe burst or something, today is going to be an online day.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, that would make sense. The problem is really the pandemic just blew all our minds. I think it really did. I don't think we've even recovered from that. That whole experience of being inside and all the things that we went through. I have a friend whose granddaughter, and so also the other thing is a lot of kids are experiencing like having dysphobia. What is that? Anyway, the trans, like I think I'm trans or I'm not sure. And then they don't want to go to school because they're being harassed and bullied because it's horrible, right? So I have a friend whose granddaughter went through that. Well, pandemic, she started homeschooling, but guess what? She just stopped. And Texas isn't checking on her. There's no checks or balances. This kid is not even going to school. She stopped going to school when she was 14. She just stopped. Her parents don't care. The school doesn't care. The school district doesn't care. This kid, and she's very smart. She's very, very smart. What in the heck? We're doing such a disservice to our kids.
Yeah.
Not to mention using them for target practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
She can still take an equivalency test
to graduate high school.
Yeah.
She could, but I mean, is she going to pass? She hasn't been in school for 3 years.
And then she can take a class to.
She can take her GRE. She could take her She could take a GED. I mean, sure. Yeah. That's the other thing about these kids. You're not going to hold them down.
No.
They're not just going to go in the corner. They run the internet. You know what I mean? They understand our society more than we do.
Yes.
You can't write them off. I don't think this is the end of her world. I think and this is really what I want to tell people is anything is open right now. Like any one of us could start a YouTube channel or start a business or it's like wide open. Like this kid can end up working at the Pentagon. She could end up being president because the same rules don't apply. You don't have to go to the Ivy League school. You don't have to know this person or get this or do that. It's like literally like the chute is open and everybody can run for it right now.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a disservice
because windows like that, where you're going to be able to test out of
whatever
certain things to be able to apply for a position.
Yes.
That, you know, and when maybe not get paid as much to be trained because degrees don't mean as much as they used to, except for obvious things, you know.
Well, I think there's so much information available that, you know, you want to know something, go on YouTube. You know, if you can get somebody, if you can find somebody who knows what they're talking about, there's a lot of really good people out there sharing what they know. And perhaps that's how we're going to do it. We're just going to, that in itself brings community, right? Like the community of the people who like to refinish furniture. They're all refinishing furniture. We're finding our niches. And that's very Aquarian too. Aquarian is like cells in the body. That's what Aquarius is like. All the cells are important. You need all the cells, but they have their specializations, right? Not everybody is a heart cell, and not everybody is a nerve cell, and not everybody is a gut cell. But whatever wherever you shine,
nice.
Right? Yeah,
nice.
I like that.
That's right. Sage the Scales said Harris was promoting testing into positions instead of requiring college credits. That's what I miss about Harris too, is she was just so practical. Yeah. You know, like just such a practical person. Let's just solve this problem. Actually, Walls too, right? Not bureaucrats. Really new. They were new blood. They were new energy. And I still haven't given up. I still think she can be president. I really do. I think it's going to be crazy and scary and whatever else is going to happen, and it's not going to happen until, you know, very, very close to the 20th. Okay. In my opinion.
I can hold my breath until then. Don't
hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Not advised. Dr. Vicky, tell her about it. What happens to her when she holds her breath?
Honestly, anything I can't tackle, I just sort of want to erase. And there are two things that I can't picture her in that role, but I cannot picture him in that role either.
I know, right? That's the problem.
If you close your eyes and which person you gravitate to,
can you picture Biden? Can you picture Biden staying overstaying his welcome, overstaying his stay? So it is.
No, he's too dark from the neck down.
You sensing health issues with Biden?
Oh yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to watch him actually.
Yeah.
Not in the same way as Donald, but both are very hard for me to watch.
For different reasons.
Yeah, for different
45 and Biden, or who is the other person?
45 and Biden.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I've been sensing it too. I'm not sure. Look, whatever's going to happen, it's going to be shock and awe. It's going to be shock and awe. You know, we got these drones that are still flying around. Thank God I'm not on the East Coast, because I don't know how that's not tripping y'all out, right? Like, are y'all anywhere where there's drones?
I've been trying to call the UFO drone anybody. I'm like, I am right here.
She's out there with her searchlight. Here I am. Come here.
Grab a smoke. I'm coming right out. Let me get my mittens. Because I believe that there were both. That one trailed another, one tracked another. UFOs.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Tracked those. That's how. And no, it's just other stuff. So I'm working on it.
Did anybody hear this story? They had thunder snow in Washington.
Wow.
DC or state?
Washington, DC. The Capitol got struck. The Washington Monument got struck, and something else got struck by lightning.
I heard that.
There's your tower.
Yeah.
There's your tower card.
nuts to have all three of those buildings, and it's on video, you guys. It's on video. The lightning striking all. I think there are 4 buildings actually.
Yeah, I think yeah, it was.
Wow.
I think there are 4. The Capitol. There's 4 of them, but anyway, yeah. Something's going down. Something is really going down.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and even like the wind, the like the atmosphere. Of course, we have the solar stuff happening, which stimulates the atmosphere, and so the storms get bigger. But just like the general atmosphere is being expressed in the sky, honestly, like how we're feeling.
Agree. Yep.
You know,
I don't care
these
what you are,
downpours that never stop. It's just
Yeah.
like weeping. It's like the world is weeping. There's so much pain. Like
Yeah.
it's like uncle. Now I will say this, that this time next week, the North Node is moving into Pisces.
Yeah.
It's moving out of Aries. Aries is very warlike. Pisces is a different energy. It can be very confusing, but it can also be about healing. I think the healing has to start. And this year we have a lot of, the only planet that's not changing signs this year is Pluto.
Which
the planet of
right?
Everything else is going back and forth. And whenever that happens, big shifts. The last time we were in something like this was 2010. With all this change.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. So yeah, we had lightning strikes. We had the
I think the lightning strikes, I don't care what you believe or what superstition or religion or pagan, non-pagan, that's an omen.
Yes, it is.
That's an omen. And it wasn't AI, because you can tell the video is from like some traffic, like they have cameras everywhere, you guys. It was pretty far away, actually. The camera was really far away. And yeah, maybe they get struck kind of often because they have those lightning rods. But for all those buildings to be struck on the same night, and there were storms in the area. So, I totally believe it was an omen. I don't know what kind of omen. But I mean,
usually that's lightning is ruled by Uranus.
Yeah.
So it's sudden change.
Jesus, that's right.
Getting the rug pulled out from under you. Sudden
yeah.
Right.
Or Damien's back in the building.
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
It's going to be sudden change. It is that Uranus, that I associate Uranian with lights on, lights off, like lightnings, like it's dark outside and the lightning hits, everything lights up for a second and then it goes dark again. That is exactly it. 100%. When does the Martian, because it's been brought to my attention that Mars is also martial law. And, I have seen the energy of martial law, but I thought it was around the Democrats, because if Kamala attains that seat that this hers, there might need to be in some way for some period of time. But people are saying that 45 is trying to gin up things so that he can declare that as well. And then with the Mars situation, it all kind of makes sense, right? Like this energy makes sense. So what is the Mars energy? Uh-oh, we lost Ona.
She'll be back. She probably took.
I don't know why that happened.
Just check your camera. You probably have to click the camera thing. You probably should.
No, it's spirit messing with me.
Oh, okay. There we go.
No, this is weird, because that's
Mars, is
it a different camera? Did it flip to a different camera?
Oh,
buckle up, you guys. I'm not kidding. Buckle up. It's going to be wild.
Speaking of Uranus.
Yeah, speaking of Uranus, go ahead and tell us
about
Mars.
Go down. I'm not kidding.
You would not expect the three of us to be on the same thing without something like that happening. So I'm just saying. That's
true.
But so Mars went retrograde on the 6th of December and will be retrograde until the 23rd of February. It starts its retrograde in Leo, where it is now, and then it moves into Cancer on January 6th.
Still retrograde?
Still retrograde. Now, the difference between, the way I look at it, the difference between Cancer retrograde, Mars and Cancer retrograde, or Leo retrograde, Mars and Leo retrograde. Mars and Leo is like what is going on with Elon, right? It's like the everybody's having a temper tantrum, like a little kid having a temper tantrum, like that, right? When it goes into Cancer, then it's going into the feelings and the emotions. It's out of the ego, and it's in the, and so people are going to be very self-protective. They want to protect their families, and perhaps there'll be a reason for that. I mean, there's stuff going on. I mean, there was the attack, God bless them, in
New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah, and that guy was a vet. And that's the other thing we have to deal with. We ask these men to kill people, and then they have PTSD, and then they end up killing people, but they're not killing the right people. We have to stop killing each other. It comes down to that. Pluto, I mean, Chiron in Aries. And the last time Chiron was in Aries, we were in Vietnam, right? So we have to come to this, the whole idea of bullying and how we bully as a country, right? And who's right? No one's right with that. No one has the right to hurt another person. End of story, period. Unless they're coming at you. You can self-defense is a thing. That's my feeling. Anyway. That was a little too serious. Let's somebody tell
we're gonna
no, it's all serious.
I gotta laugh. I'm trying to call in the UFOs, and this thing happens. This is what I'm saying. Then they just mess with you.
Right? I always blame it on the
UFOs or your spirit guides. Who's messing with you?
Whoever. I'm like, come on. If you're out there, drone versus UFO versus the helicopters. And then this camera thing happens, and it's like, no, you know what? That's not even funny.
Yes, it is.
Jerks.
That's what I'm always saying. It's not funny.
I don't know.
They're like, lighten up, Susan. I'm like,
yeah, I don't know how that happened, but the camera switched. So this is my computer camera, which is okay, but the lighting is like really rough.
It's weird that your computer camera is the same view as the other camera. I mean, if you just click on, I hate when they say that.
Go to settings, right behind
go to camera, go to settings, go to camera, and you can change the camera. In the bottom of our little program here, it says settings.
Yeah.
And then go to camera and then change camera. God only knows what's going to happen now.
Well, wouldn't it be funny if we had like an alien come through?
No. Do you? Who wants to see an alien?
On the couch.
You want to see an alien, Dr. Vicky?
No.
Well, you thought about it.
I'm a legal alien.
Yes, exactly.
I think. Oh no, you still there?
I'm here. I just don't have the camera on. I'm laughing at you guys. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to start.
It's the second camera.
It might be that one just decided to be obsolete.
As I was getting on, as we were coming on before you came on, Susan, I touched the thing where my camera is, and it went off twice. Like it's a very sensitive camera. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's only because my computer, I think, got dropped a few too many times.
Things are glitchy. It's like an example of everything that we're saying is things will glitch and somehow you recover and keep moving in.
So the nodes change signs, right? Mars goes into Cancer. The nodes change sign, and then on the 13th, which is a Monday, we have a full moon in Cancer.
Yep.
Right? And Mars is conjunct that full moon. So all this frustrated Mars energy is right there. And then on the 19th, he wants to have some sort of.
I saw your video. You said a goodbye party.
That's what I'm like. I think he wants to get the F out of here. I don't really think he wants to be president. I think he just wants to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
And not go to prison.
Yeah, well, obviously he got out of it. So far, he's gotten out of it.
Well, somebody said in the chat that Mershon moved his sentencing up to January 10th.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I don't know.
The day
I don't have big hopes for it. I don't have big hopes for it. But
he's not going to be held accountable. He doesn't have to pay anything. He doesn't have to go to jail. Nothing. But they're not dropping the charges. He's still a felon.
Yeah.
Right. He's still a felon.
He's still, yeah.
Which I think is all we could have hoped for. Because you think about it, he is going to, if in fact he gets in, he will be the president. And that's a lot of power to have. It's a lot of power.
It's a lot of power, but you know what? It's not a lot of power. I mean, really and truly, what can he do? I mean, he can do some executive orders, but you know, like a lot of things requires money. And like for him to do like a huge deportation thing, we don't have the money for that. Like one of those like WAPO, you know, Wall Street Journal, somebody did a whole article on it from a budget standpoint and said, you know how much money it would cost to do this? We don't have the infrastructure, even though I don't know if you guys know this, but Texas has given the government some free land to build detention centers on. Even if that's the case, he cannot deport all these people. There's laws, there's rules about how all this can happen. He's just not going to have the free reign, I don't think, that he thinks he is. I do think he's going to, if he gets in, which I don't think he's going to, but if he does, I think he's going to try to scare us into submission. You know, he's going to terrorize.
That's what he's doing now.
Yeah, scare us into submission. Like everybody and all these attacks. It's like, oh my God, everything is terrible under Biden. All this stuff is, think about it. Biden really got this country under control. And a lot of that stuff, every year that went by, it got less and less. I think murders are way down, right? Biden must be going crazy with all this stuff happening under his watch.
Fear is like fast food for these people.
That's true. It's addictive.
They can't get enough of it. There's no nutritional value, but they have to keep consuming it. So they keep creating all this fear. It will.
Well, you are what you eat, darling. You are what you eat.
Yep.
Crazy, man.
Do I look like a hunk of cheese or what?
Oh.
You look lovely.
I'm okay with it.
Lovely.
I have made peace with it.
I want to thank everybody. I haven't even addressed anyone, but somebody said Ona looks better, so I'm not going to even try to change the camera.
Well, you're actually lighter. Like you're you know how you say it's so dark? This actually brings a lot more light into your face. This camera. I don't know. You look a little blue though. Maybe you're one of those blue people. Right? Like they talk about the blue people.
You know what? Anything, honestly. Give it a minute.
Excuse me.
It's been really interesting.
Well, I have to say thank you so much, Susan, for being part of this. It's been great to have you. You're always invited. An open invitation to my home, to Ona's home. And of course to the Mystic Sisters.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. If ever you feel the need to decompress the past week events and just kind of like, you know, and then you start to learn the astrology applies like almost directly, and you know it's always going to pass.
You guys, it is so true. The astrology, like the whole thing about Chiron, the wounded healer, and how the United States is going through its Chiron return. That to me explains everything. Like if you want to understand everything about what's happening right now, to me, that's it. And the whole thing about Taurus and the land and Cancer and home and all these things, right? But you know, and you have these Republicans that are saying you can't talk about race, you can't talk about slavery, we're going to change all these, DEI is not a thing. They are actually understand what's coming for them. So you just look at what they do. They're showing you what is coming for them, because they hire psychics and astrologers too. And they know all these topics are coming for them, that there's a tidal wave of energy of people who want the truth, who are truth tellers, who like all three of us that want to honor, you know, I want reparations. I want to honor whatever culture, people that my race shat on. I want to honor you. And they know that. That's us. And these kids coming in are just even more so, right? They see race even less so. So this is where we're going. It's not, I don't think it's stoppable. Trump is not going to stop this. Vance is not going to stop this. The Republicans are not going to stop this. Yeah, they can slow it down. Yeah, they can gum up the works, and they're going to do that so they can try to hold on to power as long as they can.
I think they stimulated it all. I think that he was a stimulus to this.
Stirred the pot. Yeah, they kind of stirred.
I mean, they invited him in. They invited the devil to dinner, the Republicans.
And then they put him on the big screen so we could all see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
good. Yeah. It'll be the eternal banquet on the 19th. That should be interesting.
You guys, I'm telling you, I'm saying right now, it's just something is going to go down in a big way, and it cannot go down until right at the end, because if something went down a week in advance, you know, that it would just be a mess, right? I mean, no, it's got to go down at the last minute. So there's no arguing. It feels to me like a 9/11 situation. Not 9/11 in the sense that I don't think we're going to lose all those souls, but 9/11 in the sense that we feel that we're confused and we don't know where the attack is coming from, and if it is an attack, and is, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. Remember, it was an attack in a very small part of our country, but the whole country shut down, all the airplanes, everything shut down. That's kind of the sense that I get. It's that Uranian energy, right? Like boom, boom. With that flash, everything changed. That's what I feel is coming. And I don't know how it's going to manifest, but I feel like some kind of big boom, boom is coming.
Yeah.
And I think we all feel it, right? It's like animals feel when, you know, there's going to be a storm and they're nervous or something. I think we all feel this energy. So, you know, like disconnect from it. Ground, go outside, be in nature if you can, or do whatever grounding you can do, because that's the only thing that's really going to make you feel better, I think.
Yeah, I stayed away from, there's a Big Ten hockey game going on at Wrigley, and the streets are barricaded even
Stay
more.
Away.
Like, you know, it gives me that ill feeling, like it's there for a reason that I don't want to process right now. So just stay east of there.
Keep your head down. Everybody just keep your head down energetically. It's like whack-a-mole season. If you stick your head up, you might accidentally get whacked. You know, it's not your energy, but if you go meddle in it or go get involved in it, then it's going to be your energy. And we don't want that.
Right.
Because it's not our energy.
I think we have to step back and look at the pattern, look at the story. What's the story that's being told? And things like astrology, and of course being super psychic and having all those people in your, you know, telling you shit all the time when you don't want to hear it, right?
Yeah.
They're here to help. We just have to just remember to ask for help. Like, that's my thing. I forget that part. Ask for help.
And your own personal power, guys. Trump does not have to ruin your life. None of this has to ruin your life, right? People are still going to have babies. People are still going to be grandparents. People are still going to get advances and raises. People are still going to get accepted into things that they always wanted. Life goes on. Life is going to go on. Make it go on the best possible way for you. Don't give away your power to this, right? To these people. right?
Yes.
Of all people, don't let them ruin your life, right?
Don't let them steal your joy. Don't
Right.
let them
Let
steal
them
your
steal your
joy.
joy.
And that's part of that feeding off of you.
Yeah.
That generates that, and that, you know, that's like a butterfly flapping its wing, and that will create an even bigger mess. If you ignore it, it's like my best advice was just kind of ignore it until you're ready to, you know, entertain how you're going to react to it.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is shine your light brighter, right? The best thing you can do is have the best life ever, because then you're impacting everybody around you. Your energy's, you know, lifting everybody else around you, and then it spreads, right? Like, I really think that's where we are. We already did the thing. We already went to the poll. We did the thing. We did our work. That part is done.
We did our part. Yep.
We did our part. Now it's time for us to take care of us.
That's right.
Really and truly.
And so that's what we will do.
Good.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We love you. Namaste. Thank you again to Susan. Ona, I love you. We'll see you again next week on Ona's channel.
Woo-hoo.
All right. Bye-bye.